Oh, what's up, everybody? And I'm hoping everybody out there's having a safe and fun Memorial Day weekend. But today we are actually here to talk about a pay-per-view. And what pay-per-view might that be? AEW Double or Nothing, Queens, New York, the Louis Armstrong Stadium. And it's going to be a lot to say about this show. When it comes to AEW pay-per-views, expect them to go very long. Now, I actually did watch a little bit of the pre-show because one newsworthy thing I guess we could say was the debut of Mick Foley within AEW. Mick Foley had an entrance. He was out there with Renee Young, basically just throughout the entire pre-show. He talked about his daughter who was in the crowd, and they asked him, what brought Foley to AEW. He said he took a break from wrestling a few years ago, but he started watching again with AEW, and it made him fall in love with professional wrestling again. He talked about he met Tony Khan about 15 years ago having lunch. He's considered him a friend. And he got more interest in it. I know everyone's talked about Mick Foley coming to AEW. I know it was announced like several days ago now. I know he got out of his WWE Legends contract, which I believe expires next month. But he basically said he was going to get out of WWE from his contract due to, I guess, the current administration that's going on right now within the White House. But, not to go into politics and all that. Someone kind of questioned Mick because it's like, if you really want it out, why did you still, well, obviously money, of course, but still stay under contract and just instead of saying like, all right, I'm just going to leave up out of it and stuff. But I'm sure there's legalities here and there. But he wanted out of WWE and wanted nothing to do with them, so he went to AEW, which I figured he was going to go to AEW at some point anyways when that was announced. But basically he was out here throughout the entire first hour to be part of the pre-show. And he said he was really interested in AEW. Few things to say about these pre-show matches. I know they had Megan Bayne and Lena Cross, the Divine Dominion in a 5-minute challenge eliminator thing against Viva Van and Zeta Steel. I don't have much to say about this. I guess like 14 seconds left and Megan Bayne and them won. So not much to say. And then Anna Jay and Tay Conti came out there. So I guess they'll be the next challengers. The ops of Hook, Anthony Bowens, and Shibata went against the Death Riders of Claudio Castagnoli, Wheeler Yuta, and Daniel Garcia. Once again, not a lot to say. It looks like the fans do kind of tend to cheer the Death Riders here and there and not know what to do sometimes when cheering or booing them. Obviously, they kind of align with Ospreay in some way. I don't think that's it, but they did get some cheers out there, depending on who it was. Basically, what was it? Claudio and them getting the 3-count hit. Bowens with an uppercut, so the Death Riders won. I think this is the last pre-show match. It was, what was it? Wow, it was a lot to say. How many people was in this match? The conglomeration, I guess, of Mark Briscoe, Orange Cassidy, Roderick Strong, QT Marshall also in this match, and Big Boom AJ. They love bringing these Costco guys out there all the time. I know Harley Cameron and the Rizzler and Big Justice was out there. They went against Shane Taylor Promotions, and Shane Taylor, Lee Moriarty, Carly Bravo, Sean Dean, and Anthony Ogogo. I think that was wow, I'm trying to remember who was out there with them. I don't remember what the woman's name was out there. Damn, was it Layla Gray? I think so. I don't have much to say about this match. I don't know what happened to Big Boom AJ. He was bleeding out there pretty heavily at one point. I know QT Marshall, which I guess they were trying to do a Tower Doom spot, but he ended up falling to the floor at the end. So I don't know what really happened to him after that. I just know that Big Boom AJ got the win. And then I know he had blood on him, and then the heels were trying to get him. And then next thing you know, Eddie Kingston came out, got a huge pop with Ortiz and Mance Warner. I guess Mance Warner is in AEW now. I didn't really know he was there till really now. So I guess he's there. But yeah, Eddie Kingston coming out there was New York and stuff. So he got a pretty big pop. Mick Foley was interviewed again and talked about the main event. But MJF came out and said, no, we're not going to do this. And that, Foley, you failed every big moment of your career and stuff. They talk about the New York Knicks and, all these underdogs, you guys always lose. But Mick Foley went on to talk about MJF, said, we never met and all that stuff. And I don't know if I'll get a feeling to do this again, but he talked about, I've lost a lot of matches, even to a guy named Dwayne The Rock Johnson, he said, which got some boos out there, by the way, too. But, he talked about, I've lost some matches, and I won some matches, but I've never lost a match in under 2 minutes and 15 seconds. That's a disgrace. And then Foley went on and says, I'm not about to steal the show and all that, but Darby is. Darby does a lot of things, and he's going to take from you, MJF, as in your hair and your title. Foley talked about, you got wavy hair, but you could be waving that goodbye. MJF softly kind of kicked Mick Foley in the nuts then, if you really go back and look at it. Darby came out for the save, and then Mick Foley says, like, you do this for all the all for the what was it, the underdogs out there, the weirdos and stuff. Do it for them, and all that. Go out there and win. And he did the bang bang thing right after, so we got a promo from Foley. But as we actually go into the main show of Double or Nothing, we kick it off with a what was this? I Quit street fight match. Edge and Christian versus FTR. Um, which I gotta say, this was a crazy hardcore match out there. I will say I'm surprised somebody didn't really bleed out there like that too. But this was some insane kind of stuff they did out in this match. They had a table involved. Wheeler looked like he put a chair to Edge's neck then, like on the ring post, asked if he quit. He said no. Christian, got like a toolbox then, took some pliers and got Harwood's nose, and then like hitting Wheeler in the balls then with it. Edge ended up coming back, which Edge I think was bleeding from like his right eye, I think like under his eye, so he was bleeding out there. And then like they got up off to the floor then, and like a spike, like FTR like a spike power drive on the Edge on through like the announce table, which was pretty crazy. They then went back to Christian for like his injured wrist and stuff. It was like, I guess, crush it with a cinder block that they were gonna do, and then like batter him with a chair several times. Which I'm wondering how much does that hurt then? Because if you got the cinder block there and you're hitting him with the chair, I guess it puts pressure on it. And they asked him, "Do you quit?" And then Christian said, "I banged your mother and go fuck yourself." That was pretty hilarious. And then I'm going back after Christian trying to choke him in right after and like getting barbed wire. FTR and them hitting the shatter machine on the Christian. And then they said, like, this pussy won't quit. Wheeler had said. And, Edge ended up spearing Wheeler right after that. Edge ended up, got Dax in. He, got him with a chair. And then Dax was damn near begging him in. Edge ended up, like, catching him, like, hitting, like, another spear. But, like, him and Christian, like, I think he had, like, taped his fist and stuff. But, Christian got knocked out of the ring. FTR hit a, shatter machine onto, Edge right after. Beth Phoenix came out there then because Stokely got involved in this match. Beth Copeland, Phoenix, however you want to put it, ended up knocking Stokely over, but Dax ended up shoving her into the ring steps then. And then he had like a whole bunch of lighter fluid and put it onto a table and stuff. And as he put like the light, was gonna light up the table and everything. And like Wheeler's gonna hit like a spear, but Beth pulled Wheeler out of the way. Then I think it was Wheeler ended up spearing he ended up spearing Stokely through the table, the burning table. I guess why Stokely kept that heavy jacket on too, so he wouldn't really get burned that much. Dax ended up was gonna get Edge with the concerto in, but and it was asked if he quit because if you want to see your daughters tomorrow, you better quit. Beth Phoenix ended up hitting a low blow on the Dax right after. Christian hit him in the nuts, then put him into a sharpshooter, and then like Beth took out Edge's baseball, like the giant board nail thing spike, which Edge ended up like putting the nails, like putting a crossface on the Dax while Christian's hitting him with the sharpshooter then, basically forcing Dax to quit. So crazy hardcore match out there. Edge and Christian win are the new tag team champions. Got a huge pop and all that. So crazy match, really hot to kick off the main show. So the crowd was very hot for this match. So yeah, Edge and Christian won. Right after that was Okada versus Takeshita for the AEW International title. Had a pretty cool video package with Takeshita before he came out there. Honestly, I didn't know how this match was going to go, especially following the hardcore match, but the crowd was still hot for this too with Okada and Takeshita. I will say this, like, if you're looking for a New Japan style match out here, this was your bet right here for it, okay? I know they had Don Callis on commentary. Fans were really behind Takeshita in this. There was a lot of insane stuff out here. Obviously, a lot of, the whole back and forth moves where everybody does the whole no-selling thing, hitting back and forth. Okada, like, tried to do, like, a rainmaker onto the floor. After that, fans trying to fight forever. He tried to get him back into the ring, but Takeshita hit him with, like, a big, DDT right after. He'd have been, like, a brain buster on Okada to the floor then. I know Callis tried to get up, say, like, what are you doing? Like, telling them to stop trying to kill each other at some points in the match. Takeshita ended up hitting, like, a big superplex off the top rope, which Okada got out of it, and, tried to go for a rainmaker, but Takeshita blocked it. Hit him like a big German suplex for a near fall then. Okada and Takeshita kept going back and forth with the strikes. Okada got the better of it. Takeshita fired up, hit a big blue thunder bomb, which looked kind of crazy out there. But Okada was able to kick out of it then. Ended up Takeshita with a Rainmaker then, and then hit him with like a drop kick and another Rainmaker, but Takeshita got out of it, hit his own Rainmaker then Takeshita just no-sold a drop kick from Okada, and then hit him with another knee strike then. Takeshita got Okada up. He like was gonna hit him with something else, but like I think he fell to his knees then and like knocked him into the middle rope. Okada looked like he was still trying to get back at Takeshita, but Takeshita with another big elbow strike then, hit him with the Raging Fire, winning the AEW International title. Takeshita ended up celebrating. Callis got in the ring then, had Mark Davis and Rocky Romero there with him, helping up Okada as, you know, they kind of go back and forth arguing with Takeshita then. And it looked like they were about to fight right there, but, you know, Takeshita ready to fight. But then Kyle Fletcher returned. We haven't seen Kyle Fletcher in about a month or two now, I believe. Fletcher came out there. He looked at Takeshita, and then looked at Okada, and, you know, he hugged, hugged Takeshita then right after as Okada then got out of the ring, and stuff. Fletcher had picked up the belt and headed into Takeshita then. They raised arms, but then he clotheslined him and then just ended up turning. I had a feeling he was going to turn on Takeshita. Okada came back in and smiled. Fans chanted asshole right after. Fletcher picking up Takeshita and hit a brain buster on him. And then him and Fletcher and Okada picked up the title at the same time. Okada smiled and let him have the belt then. And then they held up Takeshita. And then Fletcher hit Takeshita with the title as Callis supplied it. So yeah, it's too many people in this damn group anyways when it comes to the Don Callis family. But Takeshita, I guess, is officially out of this group now after winning back the AEW International title. So obviously it's going to be a feud now with Fletcher and Takeshita. So we're going to see what happens with that. So hot match, though. Another hot match. Now, this is where it kind of cooled off here because after two big hot matches, there was an Owen Hart Cup tournament match between Athena and Mina Shirakawa. I don't really have much to say about this. I keep forgetting Athena is still the Ring of Honor Women's Champion. How long has it been? Like, I guess it was like 1,400 days. I'm not even sure. I don't got much to say about this match. It wasn't bad. Solid match out there. I think Athena was going to win anyways. Like I said, it was a tough act to follow, especially after Okada and Takeshita. But like I said, Athena ended up hitting like, a jumping tombstone and then hit the old face for the win. So I don't really got a lot to say about this other than being a solid match. And Athena was going to win, which was kind of predictable anyways of advancing to the tournament. Jim Ross was back on commentary. I don't know why they didn't put Jim Ross in the main event of this show for the world title, but they randomly brought him back in the middle of the show for the Jon Moxley Kyle O'Reilly match and a no time limit for the AEW Continental title. They literally just had the same match except with a better crowd than what they had Wednesday, because on Dynamite it was a 20-minute time limit. So basically it ended up being another match. And I will say this, I know there's a story to this whole thing. If anybody remembers, before Kyle O'Reilly got injured, remember Kyle made Moxley tap like 2-3 times now at one point. And O'Reilly was getting really over, but then O'Reilly got hurt. We hadn't seen him. So I didn't really know they were still going to continue this entire feud. Okay? And this was good. Don't get me wrong. It's basically the same match I saw the other night. It was solid. You know, the crowd, like I said, the crowd was good for this match. But what was this? Maybe the second, third time they had this. I think this is the third match now. So basically the story, you know, Moxley finally getting his revenge onto O'Reilly because O'Reilly kept trying to go for that ankle lock to make Moxley tap out, but he couldn't do it. But Moxley kept going for O'Reilly's bad ankle out there, put his own ankle lock in, and you know, Moxley ended up hitting that ankle lock on him after reversing it, making Kyle O'Reilly tap out then. I know Jim Ross ended up saying that there was a new champion. Listen, Jim Ross hasn't been on this show in a while, so I guess he's not really going to know what's going on. And like I said, I'm just glad to see Jim Ross back on commentary in general. I know the man's had a lot of health problems here and there. I know didn't he like beat cancer about a few months ago? Because they caught it, but they was able to give him cancer-free in. I know he's had some, like I said, he's had health problems and stuff, so we don't see Jim Ross a lot on this show. I think the last time we even saw Jim Ross on here was what? Was it All In, maybe? I don't even know. Whatever the last pay-per-view Jim Ross was on. But I was just glad to see him back on commentary. But just odd to put him in the middle of the show and not in the main event for this match. So I thought it was kind of strange. Moxley ended up shaking hands with O'Reilly then. So he showed him respect then after that. Right after that, it was Will Ospreay versus Samoa Joe. in a Owen Hart Cup tournament match. I enjoyed this match. I really did. I think this was great. Man, like I said, it was a lot of fire matches throughout the entire night. I know they have Moxley out there still kind of watching on throughout the match. I figured Ospreay was going to win anyways. In a way, I kind of wanted Joe to win, but I knew that wasn't going to happen. Excuse me, Joe. I know he kept going for the Coquina clutch onto Ospreay. Ospreay was able to get out of it. I know he did it with like a Styles Clash, which was pretty crazy to do. And whatnot. Ospreay, he's still able to, Joe hit the Coquina clutch again. And, Ospreay was, get his arm up on the last hold, when the rest raised up your arm and stuff. Joe was sending him up for the muscle buster then. Ospreay ended up slipping up out of it, hit him with a hidden blade, covered Joe, but that did not work, which he kicked out at 1. And then Joe was up, but he was on his knees then, and Ospreay ended up coming back with another hidden blade, beating Samoa Joe then. So Ospreay continued on into the tournament, which I figured he may win this whole tournament, which then again I predicted him to win the whole tournament last year, and that didn't happen, and they went with Hangman. But then again, Ospreay was hurt at the time, so I can understand why he didn't win it last year, but I think he will win it this year. And whatnot. Samoa Joe ended up bowing the Ospreay in as Ospreay celebrated on after that. So, like I said, Ospreay moves on to the tournament, so we'll see what happens after. Next was another Owen Hart Cup tournament match with Swerve and Bandito. Swerve basically kind of coming out like Michael Jackson with the Beat It jacket. Which I think is kind of funny because like the night before, what was it? I think Jade Cargill and her team was kind of coming out dressed as Michael Jackson on on Saturday night's main event, and I know they had like the Smooth Criminal, and I think she had like the glove on and the hat and stuff. So go watch the movie. Great movie. I recommend everybody go watch the Michael movie right now. Definitely enjoyable. But other than the movie, this match though. Honestly, I think everybody knew Swerve was gonna win this. I know Bandito's the Ring of Honor champion right now, but I enjoyed this match. But like I said, it was very predictable. And they had some time out there too. But I never believed Swerve was gonna lose this. I thought it was odd that Swerve was even going after Bandito to begin with, because Swerve was going after Kenny Omega before, talking about the power and I need the power. So I don't know how beating the Ring of Honor champion is really getting the power. But he was gonna win this match anyways. I'm not even surprised by this. Good match though. A lot of cool counters here and there. But yeah, Swerve. Getting names mixed up. Bandito's going for the 21 plex, but Swerve ended up just countering with like a Ringo Killer vertebraker, and then hit the house call kick for the win. So Swerve moves on into the tournament. Next was a fatal 4-way AEW women's title match. I really don't know what's going on in this feud because I don't watch Collision. Tekla versus Hikaru Shida versus Statlander versus Jamie Hayter. I know it's been some tension between Statlander and Shida. I know they've been tagging, but almost like who's going to betray who first. The crowd kind of took them out of this in a way. I'm not even surprised Tekla won. I figured she was going to retain. I feel like the matches I've seen from her have mostly been on Collision with the title, or if she's on Dynamite. I don't know if it's her opponents. Like, how many strong faces do you really have right now to go against Tekla? I know she's still got the Triangle Madness thing going. I enjoy Tekla, especially from promos. I know some people think she's drunk when she's, which some people thought she was drunk, but I found it very entertaining from her promos. Tekla is great. But I'm not surprised she won here. I know Tekla hit like a stomp onto Statlander to get the win. So I'm not even surprised. From this. So yeah, Tekla ended up retaining the title. No surprise from there. I didn't really I almost thought somebody was going to come out there, it looked like, given how long her title win celebration was going on after, but nothing really happened. But yeah, Tekla retaining AEW Women's Championship. Right after was the Stadium Stampede match. And just like Anarchy in the Arena, expect a whole bunch of crazy stuff to happen that I can't even catch up with everything that's going on in this. So, the Stadium Stampede match, which they even had their own special entrances in a way, was it like the Don Callis family showed up in like trucks or something, or the Demand. Basically, it was Ricochet, Toa Leona, Bishop Khan, the Demand there. The Don Callis family with Mark Davis and Andrade, and the dogs of David Finlay and Clark Connors. going against Chris Jericho, the Hurt Syndicate of Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin. Kenny Omega, I don't even know how he got involved in this match. It's like he was just announced randomly for this still. The Young Bucks and Jungle Jack there. They wore suits, by the way, and fought throughout this entire match. I know the fans chanting, "We hurt people." I'm going to be honest, I don't even know what the Hurt Syndicate is doing nowadays ever since they returned to Collision, but they're involved. I'm actually surprised they're even in this match. There was a lot of dives from the Bucks and Omega going out there. Even Shelton diving, Ricochet diving, everybody's diving. I know everybody just kind of, start going brawling all over the place then. I know they hit like a whole bunch of simultaneous hurricanranas with the Bucks, Omega, and Jericho in the ring. The Hurt Syndicate and the Gates of Agony fought backstage. Leo Rush, who just showed up being Golem from Lord of the Rings now. I don't even know what his gimmick is supposed to be. He's basically Golem. Basically kind of have a little bit of a reunion with Bobby Lashley there before they fought off. And whatnot. Andrade tried to do his whole selfie with some girls, some hoes right there, but looked good too. But Luchasaurus showed up with like a blonde wig on and be part of the selfie then, and trying to do this forced laugh they were trying to do. And Luchasaurus and spraying some mist into Andrade. I don't know how much mist got onto him. Jericho had a bag then, which was a bunch of tennis balls, which fans chanting balls then. They either chanting bald or balls throughout the entire night. Fans chanted, "You sick fuck," then after Jericho slammed Ricochet on the tennis balls. How does that hurt somebody? And whatnot. I know they went to the back then, and Satam Sin was in the back eating and catering. Andrade, I guess, crashed into him somehow, which ended up being a food fight. There was some guy that was calling himself Invincible. I think Mark Davis got hurt on his eye crashing on one of the tables then. Jericho and Ricochet fought somewhere backstage, which there was a tennis ball machine and a tennis ball racket happening. He was hitting them with. And then, Walter showed up with a giant tennis racket then and gave it to Jericho, and Jericho started beating Ricochet with it. There's a cornet joke that falls into this somehow. But Jericho ran into the garage door then. It was a 2 count. And then Lashley ended up spearing Toliona out there back into the ring area. Mark Davis read a note that said, "We're here, asshole." And then Jack Perry just crashed his Jurassic Express bus into a car and a go-kart, for a golf cart, which Mark Davis was obviously out of the way from it. I don't know where that was going. Omega then going back with Andrade. Shelton Benjamin a big suplex on the Leona then, and I don't know, they was all fighting all over the place. Omega hit a one-wing angel on Andrade out to a table out on the outside to the floor. Ricochet was basically by himself then between all the faces because all the heels were down. The dogs and stuff. They hit a 7-way super kick on the Ricochet, and then Jericho hit the lion saw. I don't have much to say. This was just a bunch of wild chaos stuff out there. You either gonna like this or you're not. And then Jericho ended up paying tribute to Sabu then by putting himself through a table because Sabu did and put the one finger into the air then. So like I said, it's a lot that you either gonna like this or you don't. You either like it or you don't. It's a bunch of wild stuff. I don't even know what this feud even possessed this to be a Stadium Stampede match to begin with. Given that they all fought in suits out here too, like it was Reservoir Dogs or something. So a lot of chaos. But we finally get to the main event for the AEW World Title and hair on the line. Darby Allin versus MJF. I liked MJF's gear. It was Ric Flair in a way out there, I believe, again. Darby have a big video package then, going through the sewers of New York and getting to a cab to get to the building then. To come out there. Where do I even go with all this thing? We got to the car. We had a skateboard to ride into the arena. But like I said, they did the big announcements and stuff. Fans chanting bald at MJF. I liked how Justin Roberts says he's not from these. I don't hail from these 5 bullshit boroughs of New York. I don't where did they really go? Darby immediately going after MJF, got with the headlock takedown. Still a kick out. Was a kick out right after. Darby hitting a big, which by the way, immediately what were we barely 5 minutes into this match? Darby does a suicide dive, lands on his freaking neck, by the way, head first. Jesus, like, sometimes I don't know if Darby's really hurt or he's just selling the hell out of this really well, because that was brutal to see. MJF got him up after then, power bombed him to the apron right after, and worst thing happens if he dies out there, Shivani said. It wasn't that, which I think they said like he's not afraid to die or something. MJF tried to go for the heat seeker, but Darby got out of it then. Hit him like a cutter right after that. Darby like a springboard coffin drop, and MJF hit him with a forearm, taking him down. Hit him with like another power bomb, like backbreaker, and pinning him again. MJF get onto Darby. He was set him for a tombstone, but Darby got it with several elbows then. Which, he tried to hit a coffin drop right after, but MJF, rolled to the floor to get out of the way of it. Darby in another suicide dive then, which, MJF went over to the announce table then. Darby was going to go for a coffin drop, and MJF moved again, and Darby ended up, hit him, crashing into him onto the floor right after. MJF then was able to get the stairs or something, which he like a package pile driving in, but Darby ended up hitting him with like a scorpion death drop. MJF, was I think he tried to grab the rope, but Darby was gonna go for the coffin drop, but he put his knees up right after. MJF went like another heat seeker then, and then MJF ended up throwing him, trying to throw him out of the ring, but Darby got him with a scorpion death drop again after that. And then they did several near falls, hit the code red onto him. Right after that, I think they went to the outside to the floor then. Darby hit another suicide dive on him then, and hitting the cameraman also, which Darby barely even touched the cameraman, by the way, too. He didn't even touch him, so he wasn't even near him after that. But what was it? The ref, I think they said he was being too lenient out there, but MJF got him to the stage then, to the barber's chair, and Darby ended up I think he got MJF then to a guillotine and put him onto the table. Darby looked up then. He climbed onto the stage set. I like the stage set, by the way. Kind of like New York with all the scaffolding and stuff. Hit the bang bang Mick Foley pose, Cactus Jack. And then dove on to the MJF through the table then with a coffin drop, which was just insane. Darby ended up getting up then, which his head was bleeding very heavily, by the way, too. Darby just dragged MJF back to the ringside then, trying to get him with another coffin drop or a near fall. Darby, tried to go for him again, but MJF had grabbed Darby right after that, trying him with a heat seeker. Darby got him down with another scorpion death drop then. Darby got up, went across the ropes, went at MJF then, went to the, tried to go another tombstone, but it did not work. But MJF hit him a side headlock after hitting him with it was an avalanche tombstone from the middle rope and stuff, and pinned Darby for the to win back the title. I'm gonna be honest, I never really thought MJF was gonna have his hair cut here anyway, so I figured he was gonna win the title back. Darby, as short as his title reign was, which I'm not gonna count every title defense he did because I didn't watch Collision, but he was basically damn near killing himself every week out there. So I figured his title reign wasn't gonna go that long because MJF was not gonna have his hair cut. And as MJF celebrated, the trainers put Darby onto a stretcher. MJF stood on top of him. Kevin Knight came out to chase MJF away, but then Kevin Knight got to the top rope, hit his UFO splash onto Darby onto the stretcher. So I guess did Kevin Knight turn heel right here, which was very out of nowhere. So why did he do this? I don't know, but that was unexpected. I will say that. Obviously, he'll have a heel promo coming up this Wednesday, but that was very surprising to see. I did not expect to see him do that. So I don't know why Kevin Knight turned on Darby. So we'll see what happens from there. But yeah, MJF getting back the world title. I'm not too surprised by this. But other than this long show, I think this pay-per-view was a big deal. I think it was a great pay-per-view, to be honest. And that was a lot of highlights from this. I enjoyed Edge and Christian versus FTR. I enjoyed Okada and Takeshita. I enjoyed the main event. Other matches I did like on this show, I did like Swerve and Bandito, as predictable as it was. Ospreay and Joe was really great too. So there was a lot of great matches on this show. Some I didn't really know because I guess I haven't really been watching Collision. Either the build to this or some were just added the last minute. Like I said, Moxley and O'Reilly was literally added the last minute to this show. Even the women's title, I don't really know what was going on with Tekla and everything. I don't watch Collision, so I don't know. The Stadium Stampede was a mess, so take what you want from that. But Double or Nothing, no, I'm kind of glad they got out of Vegas. I think they've been out of Vegas because they were like, what, Arizona last year? But yeah, going to New York was pretty cool too. So I did enjoy this show a lot. Like I said, when it comes to AEW pay-per-views, they're going to go on very long, but I definitely enjoyed it. But other than that, that's what I got to say about Double or Nothing. So comment and subscribe. Follow me on Twitter at HoodNight890. I'm out of here. See you guys then. Peace out and enjoy your holiday weekend. We out.